developing countries like India, they stand to lose up to $850 billion from loss of productivity and poor outcomes in the workplace. Workplace nutrition, what you're doing is you're also engaging your employees to become ambassadors for good nutrition, become nutrition champions, and then also messengers for good nutrition in their community.
Today we have with us Ms. Madhvika Bajoria, Nutrition Integration Manager at Sight and Life. Ms. Bajoria brings with her significant experience in multi-sectoral partnerships, program management and advocacy to advance knowledge and implementation in nutrition. She has worked closely with UNICEF and key stakeholders on the strategic design and direction of the Impact for Nutrition platform right since the platform's inception, and now specifically oversees the workplace nutrition training, advocacy, and amplification pillars for I4N. Ms. Bajoria, thank you for joining us today.
Sure, Yamini, thanks so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
Okay. So let's begin by understanding a little bit about your professional journey and how you really got started with nutrition.
Sure, thanks, Yamini. So, you said that my title, my designation is Nutrition Integration Manager at Sight and Life. But interestingly enough, I do not come from a nutrition background. I come from a public policy and economics background. And really, the cornerstone of my career in terms of the kind of work I have done has always been working on multi-sectoral partnerships and creating shared value for the partners and for the communities in which we have worked. So whether I've previously worked in labor rights, I've worked in social protection schemes, I've worked in education, gender justice, but through all sectors, what has been common has been my passion and commitment towards building multi-sectoral partnerships towards a shared vision.
Right.
So really, when I came into the nutrition space, what really excited me about the world of nutrition and being a part of it, despite my lack of expertise, technical expertise, was the fact that I saw a lot of really, really smart scientists and nutritionists doing some cutting edge work, coming up with fantastic programs to reduce the burden of malnutrition. So what I really saw as my role, what I could bring to this sector, is I could help in translate some of that science into policy and practice, and then use it to build multi-sectoral partnerships that would improve the delivery and uptake of nutrition among the most vulnerable in our society, which is women and young children usually. Which is why Impact for Nutrition was really like the perfect platform for me to be involved in and for me to work on in my current role at Sight and Life. So that's a little bit of my background.
Right, that's wonderful to hear. Now, as somebody who kind of very extensively works in the area of workplace nutrition, can you help us understand how workplace nutrition fits into the government's larger agenda of Poshan Abhiyan and also for the larger workforce?
Of course. When our government launched the Poshan Abhiyan or the National Nutrition Mission in March 2018, they came up with a very comprehensive document which outlined what they call the guidelines for a Jan Andolan and how they envisioned this Jan Andolan coming to life. And interestingly, our government in that document laid out workplace nutrition and private sector engagement as a very key component of the Jan Andolan. Our government, from day one of the launch of the National Nutrition Mission or the Poshan Abhiyan, saw the value in workplace nutrition. Why is that? That's because we have some staggering statistics, like a recently released study by Chatham House and Vivid Economics. They cite that developing countries like India, they stand to lose up to $850 billion from loss of productivity and poor outcomes in the workplace. So really the government recognized why this is so important. And for the same reason, businesses also saw value in workplace nutrition, because there's a direct business outcome for them. But
Right.
what missing was really a platform which would match the business's interests to the government's guidelines. So what we wanted to do was fill that void and come in and provide that platform where business could come in, private sector could come in, and start making commitments towards workplace nutrition, and help the government meet its Poshan Abhiyan goals. So that really is, I think, why workplace nutrition is so important, and why both the government and private sector was so eager for a platform like Impact for Nutrition.
Now, employee engagement and volunteering are also essential catchments when it comes to making workplace nutrition a reality, right? So, how do you believe that these two essential forces can act as drivers of change and kind of encourage good nutrition seeking behavior? And what role will the company have in enabling them to kind of make workplace nutrition a reality?
Right. So, what's interesting, Yamini, is here at Impact for Nutrition, when we created, we had a very simple exercise to try to gauge what the reach was of the initial set of tools and resources we created.
Right.
And what we found was that, of course, the immediate catchment of a company is its employees, the workforce. However, once good nutrition knowledge, attitudes, and practices are instilled in your workforce, they cascade down to the communities in which either the workers live, or in which they are active, or in which immediate communities surrounding where say a factory might be, or a plant might be. So what we saw was that even though the employee base of our pledge partners was about 1.4 million, which is a huge number, but due to this cascading effect, the numbers being impacted in the community was around 10 million. And this is because through workplace nutrition, what you're doing is you're also engaging your employees to become ambassadors for good nutrition, become nutrition champions, and then also messengers for good nutrition in their community. That's one. The other part of it is, of course, we talked about, when I mentioned what's in it for business, why would businesses want to invest in workplace nutrition? Because it is an investment at the boardroom level, at the HR level. And it's not just the fact that the huge number that I cited of productivity losses, but also because more and more in today's day and age, companies want to be seen as an employer of choice. To be an employer of choice, it's no longer just about the salary you offer or the benefits package you offer. It's about how you are giving back to your community and how you're making your employees feel, feel that they're being a part of something bigger than just bottom lines. So employee engagement opportunities are really key catalysts for companies to be seen as employers of choice. And how workplace nutrition and employee engagement go hand in hand. But we've also seen employees, a lot of our pledge partners do very creative things through employee engagement to uplift the nutritional status of their community, whether that's something like painting Anganwadis to make them more aspirational, or to be creating kitchen gardens to increase accessibility of nutritious foods in their communities. We've seen the whole range, and that's sort of the idea behind the Jan Andolan, that all I4N is doing is providing that initial nudge and providing that initial set of tools and resources, and then it's cascading down through workplace nutrition, through employee engagement, through change at the community level.
Right. You're absolutely right. It has to trickle down even to lower management. It can't just be an agenda at the corporate table, but has to be kind of, that's why I asked you that what are some strategies that we can have at different levels of management? Because at the end of the day, that's the idea of a Jan Andolan and kind of, coming together. Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about COVID, because the workplace has moved online, the workplace has moved at home. So at a critical time like this, when we're having so many dialogues about what we can do to build a capacity within ourselves to fight this virus and be strong towards it. So how will kind of the nutrition messaging that corporates often engage in, how is that going to work now that workplaces are online and at home?
Absolutely, and that was one of our biggest concerns, that when the pandemic kind of put our whole world on standstill, we were really worried that with this dilution of a physical workplace, and moving more into digital and remote models, what would happen is that the attention would move away from employee health and well-being, and that would not only would it create adverse effects on the employees themselves, but also incur hidden losses for the company that in the context of a pandemic that they might not be able to see and identify. So we at the secretariat were very concerned. But to our surprise, we were actually approached by some of our pledge partners very early on into the pandemic, asking us that, what are some strategies to do what we've been doing with you, but in a remote format. Right. So our immediate response was to create training modules and then do training of trainers and all virtually. But right. Then it was, we realized that this is something that companies are now seeking out more and more. So let's distill it into 5 or 6, based on all the virtual trainings we had done, we thought let's distill it into 5 or 6 mechanisms in which corporates can disseminate behavior change communication at the virtual workplace. So I'll just take you through what some of our learnings were that worked really well in the virtual format and that are very easy to implement. So first, like I mentioned, the online training sessions for employee engagement teams were fantastic. These were interactive, they had fun audio-visual components, and this is where the human resources department, HR, really took the lead. And they knew, because they knew exactly what to communicate to the employees and how to do so effectively. And so what Impact for Nutrition did was we developed a 90-minute virtual training session on good nutrition, healthy diets, food security, and safe hygiene practices for HR and top management. And this can also be broken down into shorter sessions. So the idea is that once equipped with the right tools, employee engagement teams can cascade this correct messaging down to the entire workforce. The second thing that we need to watch out for is we should monitor employee attendance to these types of sessions. So, often what happens is during the pandemic, when everybody has so many webinars to attend, so many virtual meetings, it's really important that something like this doesn't get missed. So we recommended to our partners that they monitor attendance to the sessions, and just to make sure that employees are not dismissing these invites. And then also targeting small employee groups at a time to keep the activities, workshops, training sessions short so that their work is largely unaffected and they can easily absorb the message. The third thing, which is really important, and globally there's a lot of evidence behind this particular workplace intervention, is setting up virtual health checkups. Of course, in-person health checkups are not possible, so we really encourage virtual health checkups for the employee. Of course, this is a little more resource intensive, but the ease and access to experts once employees get motivated to improve their health can really catalyze the process of improved nutritional status. And these don't need to be weekly, they can be monthly, quarterly, and they can be sessions with a nutritionist or with a doctor. The fourth thing that really worked was engaging employees with games and quizzes. Quizzes and games are really fun way to not just build teams and have like a fun team activity, but bringing in topics around nutrition and adapting them to a virtual format is we found to be a very, very sort of fun team building activity.
Right.
Uh, and since i4n already has such a strong nutrition content package that's available, we can easily turn them into quizzes and games. But again, we stress that you please monitor, just monitoring attendance to these sessions isn't enough to evaluate the impact of any intervention. And what the quizzes can do is, while it's fun, it can also be assessed, it can also be an assessment tool to see how much of that information is really absorbed
Right.
and enacted. And then finally, and most importantly, is to recognize and reward change of behavior. So here, what companies can do, even in a virtual setting, is use giveaways and rewards for employees who show a dip in absenteeism, who show any kind of regular attendance to nutrition activities and the doctor's consultations, or they display sign of having absorbed this message in a very gainful manner. So these rewards can be big or small depending on the change in behavior, and can be really goal oriented to motivate the employees. So this can make the workplace nutrition program more fun. So these are the 5 things that we recommend that companies continue doing even in a virtual setting, and they're very easy to do in a virtual setting.
Right. I think it's absolutely wonderful how quickly you've been able to adapt and mobilize this change in workplace, because work from home brings big challenges of its own. As the boundaries between work and home life kind of start to blur, people start to take their nutrition and health for granted. So I think they're so simple strategies that any corporate can kind of adopt to ensure workplace nutrition even at home. Right? So now let's talk a little bit about impact for nutrition, right? You worked so right from the inception, and going forward, what do you see as being a key priority in i4n's workplace nutrition agenda?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's very important to look forward and to really keep growing. So, before I look forward for a minute, I'll just look back. In the last year and a half that Impact for Nutrition launched March 2019, it's been about 18 or 19 months since we've been in existence, and we already have 80 pledge partners. And these are companies from private sector from all over India, different geographies, different sectors. So it's not typically, you only see food and beverage companies who are very active in the nutrition space, but i4n has really turned that on its head. We, like I said, we have garment factories, we have IT services, we have financial services, we have construction, we have mining, we have a huge plethora of plethora of companies who are pledge partners. However, as you and I both know, Yamini, 80 is a drop in the ocean of the Indian private sector. We have a long way to go if we want to realize this vision of a Jan Andolan and tackle the malnutrition problem at the scale that you see in India. And so what we really need to do going forward is continue our outreach, continue bringing on board new pledge partners from all over India, but focus very specifically on small and medium enterprises. They should not be overlooked given the importance they play in their communities and the large base of employees they have. So we need to continue engaging, but not just with the larger companies, but with several smaller companies all over India.
Right.
That's, of course, the big picture goal. In terms of our employee nutrition, the workplace nutrition and employee engagement programs, as you know, a lot has been done. In the last 18 months have been absolutely so much learning, creating. But I think now we are at a stage where we need to pause and come up with a very solid impact evaluation framework, where we need to start evaluating the impact that our programs have had so far on employee nutrition, nutritional status in the community. And what this is going to do is it's going to be something very actionable for our pledge partners who have invested in workplace nutrition, actionable information for them to have, to know what a huge impact that they have made in their communities. But it's also having strong impact numbers is also going to help us reach out to those new partners and bring them on board as a solid offering. It'll be a very solid offering that by joining Impact for Nutrition, this is the impact you can have. And
Right.
it'll also, thirdly and most importantly, teach us, the Secretariat at Impact for Nutrition, how to course correct. What is working, what is not working. So far, we have tried many different things, but it's important to know what is most effective and in which context. So I think for me, these are the two biggest things: continuing our outreach efforts and really bringing on board 500, 1000, 2000 companies, maybe more. But then at the same time, being very, very mindful of, always measuring our impact, always course correcting, and always trying to be as effective as possible.
Right. Yeah, absolutely right. The past year and a half, let's say, has been like our maiden journey into this very unique and one of a kind sort of gap in the market between private sector and government. And it is time to, frankly, go back to, go forward. Right.
Exactly.
With this, Madhvika, we would like to end our interview today. Thank you so much for being here today and especially shedding light on such an important facet of nutrition, which has been so ignored for so long and misunderstood. And I think this conversation and discussion has really helped kind of flesh out some of those ideas and will be really helpful to corporates and those who will be watching this video. So thank you so much for being here, and we look forward to having you on the platform soon.
Great. Thank you so much, Yamini. It's been a pleasure. And to anyone watching from private sector, come pledge with Impact for Nutrition. Thank
Yeah.
you.